And we have to get people to understand that Juneteenth's not a black thing, and it's not a Texas thing. It's freedom for everybody. Freedom for everybody. In fact, I'm advocating that we celebrate it from the 19th of June to the 4th of July.
Today I have the distinct honor and privilege of hosting Miss Opal Lee. Miss Opal Lee, thank you for joining us.
Hello, big Texas Boston. I'm Opal Lee, and I'm known as the Grandmother of Juneteenth. Now I'm known for a lot of other stuff too, but I thought I'd tell you that.
Okay. Well, I would love to talk to you today on the show about all of the work that you put in and how you got there to be known as the grandmother. But not only are you the grandmother, you've done some pretty big things in some big places. So let's talk about that, talk about the importance to you, and talk about what you expect from that. So tell us about your journey, please, Miss Lee.
I tell you, I'd have to go way back to the grandparents that I had who lived in Texarkana, Arkansas. They came from Cotton Valley, Louisiana, because my grandfather had acquired 40 acres of land in Texarkana and 40 acres of land in Glen Lorman. This is in Arkansas. And he couldn't afford hands. So he and my grandma had 19 children.
Wow.
3 sets of twins.
Wow.
My mom wasn't a twin, but she and a brother closest to her were both born in April, and everybody thought they were twins. My grandfather was short, stocky, jovial, but when he said something, everybody listened. And he was strict. If you had chores and things to do, you better get them done. Nothing was wasted. In fact, I'd like to say he recorded a pig squeal. But he'd bring people to my grandma and tell her, Nancy, find some clothing for him, or find him some food, or find him a place to sleep. And when my mom married and moved away to Marshall, Texas, he'd send somebody to her and tell her, kind of look after them till they can get on their feet.
Wow.
So it's sort of in my DNA. You gotta help people. And my mom was so proud because I finished high school at 16 and she was gonna send me back to Marshall because we'd moved to Fort Worth to go to Wiley College.
Okay.
But I got married. Oh, she was so disappointed. She wouldn't even go to the wedding at our church. And it took me 4 years and 4 babies to realize I was going to have to raise my husband too. So I cut my losses and went home to my mother with these 4 babies and had nerve enough to say, I'm ready to go to college now. And she says, I've got no money to send you to nobody's college. She says, I'll keep your children. I don't know how many jobs I worked to get the money to go to college. Guess what I did?
What did you do?
I spent it. I bought those children a television so she wouldn't have to run all over the neighborhood looking for them. And I went to that school without a dime.
Wow.
They put me to work in the college bookstore. Now, I hadn't quit the job I had in Fort Worth because I didn't know what they were going to say or do.
Right.
My mom kept the job during the week. I'd come on weekends. My mom collected the paycheck.
Right.
The work got done. Nobody knew the difference.
Right. Wonderful.
I got through college 3.5 years. I couldn't stay 4 years. And so I came home and got a teaching job that paid $2,000 a year.
Wow.
I couldn't feed 4 children on $2,000 a year. I got another job. I clocked in at school at 8 and out at 3. There'd be a car waiting for me. I'd clock in at 4 at what's now Conveyor. And I'd clock out at 12. I'd still been working like that, but they laid a lot of people off. Well, I raised 4 children. I went to some colleges and universities. I helped start a food bank. I got a farm. But I ran into some people. And one was Lenora Rolla, tall, straight, in her 90s, didn't wear glasses. And the city of Fort Worth had asked her to gather all the materials written about what blacks had contributed to Fort Worth, and she couldn't find anything written.
Wow.
Absolutely nothing. So she started the Tarrant County Black Historical and Genealogical Society. And one of its programs was Juneteenth. Oh, I remember Juneteenth in Little Sycamore Park. 3 days where we had 30,000 people, 10,000 people a day.
Wow.
The Historical Society took exhibits to the park. I don't think anybody paid them any attention. But did we have fun? Now, when it was time to go home,
Yes.
well, they'd pull a plug. And we knew when the lights went out, it was time to go home. Except this time, I got on a flatbed truck and put that plug back in, and we partied till dawn.
Wonderful. Do you know what year that was, roughly?
Oh, sweetie, don't ask me about years. I know when I was born, 26, other than that. But it had to be the 50s, the 70s, she tells me, the 70s.
Okay.
Well, I met a Dr. Ronald Myers, and Dr. Myers was adamant about Juneteenth being a national holiday.
Wow.
He's responsible for some 42 or 43 of the 50 states having Juneteenth celebrations.
Oh, wow.
He was a medical doctor, he was a minister, and a jazz musician all rolled into one. Doc was somebody.
Was Doc black?
Doc, yes.
Okay.
Yes, he was. Well, I think a little Doc rubbed off on me because that's what I decided at about 89 years old, that maybe there was something I hadn't done that I needed to do. And so I came up with this idea that if a little old lady in tennis shoes was walking from Fort Worth, Texas to Washington, D.C., somebody would take notice. That's 1,400 miles.
Right.
And I started walking. I walked from Fort Worth to Arlington, to Grand Prairie, to Dallas, to Box Springs, to Joppa. My team says, you won't be doing it like that. And the reason was somebody had offered us an RV so I wouldn't have to go to the motels. They changed their mind. They decided what I was doing was too political. They kept that RV. But my team says you'll only go where there are Juneteenth observances and where you were invited. I was invited all over these United States.
Wonderful.
I had such a wonderful time. A Shreveport, Texarkana, Little Rock. I went to Denver, Colorado Springs, St. Louis. I went to Atlanta, Chicago, the Carolinas. I was all over the place. So if I left Fort Worth January 2016, I actually got to Washington. No, I left September 2016. I got to Washington January 2017.
Wow.
We had asked President Obama to walk with us from the Frederick Douglass House to the Capitol, but he was in Chicago, and I didn't get what I wanted. But do you know what? We took 1,500,000 signatures to Congress.
Oh, wow.
And we were prepared to take that many more when we got the call to go to the White House because President Biden was going to sign the law to make Juneteenth a national holiday. Oh, I tell you, I was so humble. I tell you, I still pinch myself to see if it really happened, and it did.
Right. What were you doing the day you got the call?
Oh, girl, I don't remember that. I just remember that we got on a plane so fast. If he called my granddaughter, Dion, one day, the next day we were at the White House.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That was super fast.
Yes, it was. But I am so thankful that it's a holiday, and I think maybe Dr. Myers is kind of smiling down and says it's about time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He gave the baton to the right person to carry on the work.
Well, I'm going to pass it on to some of you other youngsters, you understand?
As you should. Mm-hmm. And we know there's more work to be done, but I mean, this is a huge feat. How does your family feel?
Well, they know that I get into things, so this is just one more something I'll do.
One more something you've done. Okay. I mean, this is huge. Let's talk about how you became a Nobel Peace Prize nominee and what that call was like.
Well, I didn't realize that Congressman Vesey and a lot of legislators signed off on my being a Nobel Peace nominee. And then there was TCU and I'm forgetting how many others, but there were several in Fort Worth that signed off for me to be a nominee. And, you know, I was awed. I couldn't believe it.
Right.
And when we were up at 4 o'clock in the morning to see who actually won the prize.
Yes.
And gentleman in Ukraine, because there was this war that's on, and he'd done so much for the people there, and he won the prize. I wasn't too unhappy about it. I'm gonna try again.
It was an honor to be in that category.
Yes, it really was.
Right.
Wow, Martin King
Yes.
has been nominated. Oh, so many others. Gee.
Right. And to have Opal Lee, your name, up there with the nominees.
I tell you, the Lord's been really good to me here.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, y'all. Before we continue,
Altruist Home Care Solutions is one of the top accredited home health care agencies servicing North and East Texas. With over 25 years of caring for Texas families, Altruist's network of staff has become the preferred provider of physical and occupational therapy, wound, post-surgery, and primary care within the comfort of your home. Altruist Home Health Care works in conjunction with you, your loved ones, and your primary care physician to provide stellar care with honor and integrity. For more information on our services, visit our website www.altruisthhc.com or call us at 214-328-8600. Now back to the show.
Now I heard you were working on another project. All of that wasn't enough for Miss Opal Lee. She has to stay busy.
Well, I've had a tiny little Juneteenth museum on some property I have at the corner of Rosedale and Heaven.
Yes.
Looks like the hind heels of hell, but it's got some good stuff in it. Oh, it's got good. However, they're moving it out today and storing it because we're going to have the National Juneteenth Museum on that corner. In fact, we've acquired that city block, except for the church, Mount Zion Church. And they say we'll be in it 2025. I want them to raise the money so we can be in it 2024. And we have to raise $70 million.
Wow.
Now, you need to know this. When I was at the White House,
yes,
President Biden gave me a check for $6.19. How about that? June 19th. So, I'm telling people all over, I'll take your $6.19 check, I'll take your $60.19, your $600.19, any one of them. I'll take any check you give me.
Absolutely. So this is money for the foundation that will build the museum.
Yes, yeah.
Awesome.
And so, they can send, I think, their donations to the National Juneteenth Museum is where you send them. Don't send it to me. Send it to the National Juneteenth Museum for heaven's sake. Okay.
Okay. The National Juneteenth Museum.org and make a donation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we've got to get this money raised. How much have we raised so far?
Well, the city has given us $15 million, I think.
Okay.
And the county is going to give us some millions. They just haven't said how much. And we figure we got to raise about $40 million in our neighborhood, Fort Worth, Dallas,
Right. Oh,
and
absolutely.
then we'll go out to the nation and ask them for 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've got our work cut out, but we can definitely get there.
All right.
You've got a lot of heavy hitters in Texas, and we can knock on doors and ask.
We do have.
Yes, absolutely. That is wonderful. Now, what are some of the plans for the big museum?
Oh, listen. I don't know whether Dion over there could tell you so much about it, but I know that there's going to be something in the museum from all 50 states concerning what they do with Juneteenth. Now, you know that General Gordon Granger, with several thousand colored troops, they called them then, made their way to Galveston, where there were 250,000 enslaved people. And so, when he got there, and those men spread out to tell everybody that the enslaved was free.
Yes.
And when some of them came in from work, and General Granger had nailed this General Order Number 3 to the door of what's now Reedy Chapel AME Church.
Yes.
And it said, all slaves are free. We started celebrating, and we've been celebrating ever since. You know that? And so, there were other states that weren't free. Do you know that the United States had to have treaties with the Indians in Oklahoma before they freed their slaves?
Oh, wow.
And so that came after the 19th of June in 1865. And then there were border states that weren't freed until the 13th Amendment.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, after these people were freed and they started celebrating Juneteenth, and we have to get people to understand that Juneteenth's not a black thing, and it's not a Texas thing. It's freedom for everybody. Freedom for everybody. In fact, I'm advocating that we celebrate it from the 19th of June to the 4th of July. Now, we could celebrate.
Sounds like my kind of party.
All right, all right.
Yes. What do you see for the future in America with respect to black power, black people, black freedom, black rights?
Well, what I think's going to happen after a while, they used to call us the melting pot, and we're going to melt some more, because freedom is not a black thing. Freedom is for everybody. And I'm talking about the immigrants who are coming in need the freedom that we can give them. I'm talking about Filipinos and Asians and Mexicans and all kind of freedom. White folk too. They seem to have a hell of more freedom than the rest of us, but we need some of the freedom they've got. Freedom where we can get decent health care. Some of us can get it and some of us can't.
Right.
Freedom. We're the richest country in the world, and there's no need to have homeless people and people who can't find jobs and climate change that we are responsible for. And if we don't do something about it, we're all going to hell in a handbasket. Civilizations have come and gone, and we're going to do the same darn thing if we don't take care of our earth and quit wasting. Oh, I tell you, my grandpa taught us everything had to be used. Nothing did not have a purpose. I tell you, they said he was talking about recording a pig squeal.
Was your grandfather born into slavery?
No, but his father
Was a slave?
Mm-hmm. And his mother was a runaway slave. And she came with the name, she gave him the name Zachary Broadus, Brodous. Nobody in that community was named Broadus. So we think, I haven't tried to figure it out yet, that she was from a Broadus plantation. I've read that Harriet Tubman was from a Broadus plantation.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to make that happen, but I haven't.
Make the connection?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm sure if it's there, you'll get to the bottom of it. Yes. So what else do we have on the horizon? Are we slowing down anytime soon, or?
No. That museum, I got to raise that money for that museum. And we've got a team of young people. And you got to realize you're all young people if you're not 96. And I got a team of young people who are really, I don't know how to say it, they are adamant about getting this done ASAP.
Right. As they should be. What do you think the future holds for young people?
If I want young people to understand they should make themselves a committee of one to change somebody's mind. We know people who aren't on the same page we're on. Change their mind. Now, it ain't gonna happen in a day. You gotta work at it. But if people can be taught to hate, they can be taught to love.
Absolutely.
And just think, if we took 1,500,000 signatures to Congress and we were ready to take that many more, don't you know 3 million people can turn this country around?
You're
and it
right.
needs turning.
It does. It does. And there are a lot of things. What are the top things you see that need change in our country?
We have got to get people out to vote. We've got to change what's been happening to us. Oh. And so, I'm encouraging everybody I know. And besides that, I've got some fellas that I am paying to put circulars in the doors that tell people how important it is for us to vote, where they can go to the polling places. I don't know whether they don't listen to the radio or they don't know, but I'm on top of it. I got 2 precincts. One, I'm the precinct chair. The other, I used to be the precinct chair. There are 1,000 people registered in that sliver, you know,
Right.
from 121 to where Riverside Drive and Sylvania meet. 1,000 people who are registered to vote. And I'm gonna see that most of them get to the polls. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I just know if we don't vote, we don't have anything to complain about. It's
Right.
left up to us. We can't wait on somebody else to do what we can do.
Absolutely.
So that's my job until after the November election. And after that, oh girl, I'm not sure which direction I'm going.
Well, I know whatever it is, the world is up for a treat. You are a jewel in a gem, and I'm so glad that you came out of Fort Worth, Texas to create a national holiday. That's amazing. I never thought I'd see another national federal holiday after Martin Luther King Day.
And
So-
we must remember Dr. King and all the work he did, and Rosa Parks and all the Malcolm X and Sojourner Truth and all these people who gave their lives, and people like the Quakers who risked limb and family to take the people at the Underground Railroad, how they helped people to escape. I tell you, there's so much that we have to be thankful for, and so much that still needs to be done. So I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking.
Thank you. What do you want to leave as a lesson impression on our listeners? What would you want them to know?
We're gonna walk, like I say, and we're asking people to join us when we have the walk. Have their walk the same time we have ours. California, those people have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to walk when we do. And Philadelphia and places like that, that's a different time zone. But we can all do it together. Togetherness is what I'm trying to get over to people. And not just black folk. I'm telling everybody, freedoms for everybody. And I can't express it enough that we must get together. Because as the richest country in the world, we can eradicate all these things that are disparities.
You're right. And when is the walk, or where do they need to stay tuned for the walk?
We walk on the 19th of June in Fort Worth. And They have Juneteenth walks here in Dallas and other places, and we want them to do them simultaneously. Oh, that would be over the all out the park.
Let's make sure our listeners know JuneteenthFTW.com. Definitely. So walk, participate, vote, early vote when it's available so that you don't have any excuses to get to the poll. Let's make it happen.
I got to tell you something else.
Okay.
I wrote a little book, a children's book called Juneteenth for Children.
Oh.
And so I want parents to get it for the kids. They can read it too for
Right.
themselves. Juneteenth for Children. And you get it from therealopallee.com.
Okay. Okay. Definitely. We'll have to pick that up.
Okay.
All right. Tell us what you want to leave with listeners.
Ooh, I want to leave so much with you. Vote, vote, vote. You could get the book. You could walk with us for Juneteenth. Have Juneteenth in your neighborhood.
Right.
You know? Oh, that's so much I want to leave with them. And realize that freedom is for everybody. Not just some black folk. Not just some white folk. Not for just a few Asians and some others. Freedom is for everybody.
Amen. Thank you, Opal Lee. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you for having me.
It was our honor and privilege to have you here on Big Texas Bossing, a true Big Texas boss. We've got a little gift for you.
I don't believe this. Oh. Good gracious. Oh, these are beauties.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in to Big Texas Bossing Podcast. If you like these conversations, be sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow us on all social media platforms at Big Texas Bossing. Tag us on social at #BTB.